All right, another nugget on the MSP Growth Kit. This time, I want to ask Steve and Brad, what are some of the key behaviors they found in Steve and his business, and Brad, I know you were at an MSP for a long time and you worked with a bunch of MSPs. So, what are some of the key activities? We talked about salespeople and revenue and margins and metrics, but what are some of the actual behaviors and key activities and measurables? Not the revenue side, but the key behavior side. So, Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you. What are some of the things you look at when you're talking about net new sales folks?
There's a ton of metrics you can have, from networking events to new appointments to on-site meetings to qualifying meetings to quotes to all these things. This year, my anthem is, how many new customers have you talked to this week? And what do I mean by that? I mean, you had a meaningful business conversation with somebody that we do not do business with today, period. And so every conversation I start with a sales rep is, how many new customers have you talked to this day? And today happens to be Monday. So I asked them within the last week, how many new customers? And I will say, sometime I've been shocked and concerned about the lack of numbers I'm seeing. But by me now in month 2 of that conversation for this year, uh, they're prepared to answer the question because they don't want to come with 0. So that's my current metric that I'm using, Nate.
That's awesome. Brad, what about you? What have you seen in your experience?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it a slightly different direction because I think it depends on the maturity of the salesperson and like how far they can take those kind of activities. But in my mind, when I think of the quality or effectiveness of what they're doing, is I look for them to explain to me the value they're providing the customer in every one of those engagements that they're doing. Like having an introductory meeting. What's the value that the partner or the prospect is going to receive out of sitting down? And I think I've talked about this before. Like hearing words of wisdom from you is not valuable. Right? Like there's got to be something in it for the prospect or for your client that brings value in the activity that you're doing. Like there isn't much in it for the partner if it's bringing value to us but not to them.
So it's not good enough to just grace someone with your presence.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure you can all picture salespeople that thought that was the case, as I can. And I'm sure you can all picture like salespeople that have come into your office thinking, once you look at it that way, thinking like, well, they're showing up here and it's almost like it's stroking their ego is what we're accomplishing here right now. And that's it. And I hate it. It's just a waste of time.
I agree. No, that's good. I think for me, the one that I feel, while I would have different quantities of this activity that I expect of my team, the one that I feel is critical is networking. And now I say that, I mean like going to a networking event. I mean meeting with someone, going to grab lunch or grab coffee with them, and building out your ecosystem. And I say that because if you're an account manager, there are things that our clients need that we can't do. And so I want you to be in a position to be able to refer one of our clients to a trusted partner because you've met with them, you know what they do, and you know that they solve the problem that your client is dealing with, versus them randomly finding someone who then might introduce somebody else to take our seat. And from a salesperson's perspective, if you're net new hunting versus account managing, that is a critical part of then. And again, I put both metrics on them, which is number of networking events that you're doing and how many referrals did you give. Like that's been a huge one for us. I know I mentioned it in our last video, but giving, and it doesn't have to be a vendor partner to a client or client to a vendor partner. It could be like vendor partner to vendor partner. It could be like vendor partner or ecosystem partner to like somebody I knew in high school who does something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter as long as like helping them solve a problem and creating that goodwill. And the book, The Go Giver, it puts you in a position to receive, right? By giving first. And so those are the ones that I have found really key. Not everyone does, not like it is a skill. Do not presume that everyone has that skill and everyone can do that. But networking and knowing how to network, teach it and teach giving referrals. And that will set you up to build a pipeline from an activity perspective. So that's what I got. Any final thoughts? Are we good? That's the nugget.